Two police officers are investigating a scene in Chinatown. They discuss the deteriorating state of the city and debate proper protocol. One officer, Mark, sets up a perimeter while expressing frustration about the frequent criminal activity in the area. The officers notice something unusual about a blood pool at the scene. There is an excessive amount of blood, suggesting a major artery was hit, but no body or drag marks are present. They speculate about whether the victim could have been a child, or if someone very strong carried the body away. The conversation turns heated as Mark blames Eternum for increased violence in society. He cites a 220% crime rate increase over 5 years and criticizes how the game desensitizes people to violence. His partner dismisses these concerns, noting Eternum's continuing popularity with 80,000 new daily players. The scene shifts dramatically as the protagonist regains consciousness in what appears to be a paradise-like setting. They encounter Calypso, who has apparently saved them from a near-fatal injury. Despite being wounded in the real world, they find themselves healed within Eternum. The protagonist realizes they're somehow in Eternum without normal connection methods and worries about their physical body in the real world. Calypso explains they might be stuck in the game, leading to concerns about becoming an NPC. They decide to seek an exit portal by the river. Calypso shows signs of exhaustion from the healing effort, initially trying to hide their weakness. The protagonist expresses gratitude and concern for Calypso's well-being, promising to be more careful in the future. Calypso decides to rest at an inn to recover. A touching moment develops between the protagonist and Calypso, revealing the lonely nature of Calypso's life as a princess. They discuss the political dynamics and social restrictions of their relationship, acknowledging that the protagonist would need to pose as a servant for appearances. The story comes full circle as the protagonist suddenly returns to Creton, finding themselves back in the alley, completely healed. They process the bizarre experience of entering Eternum without normal means and realize Calypso's healing affected their physical body in the real world. A tense confrontation occurs with law enforcement after discovering someone covered in blood. The situation escalates quickly as police officers order the suspect to freeze and get on their knees. Despite claims of innocence and explaining it was their own blood, the officers remain suspicious and threatening. The scene changes abruptly as someone comments on the smooth animation and visual quality, mentioning it will be available in 4K resolution. They note that visual novels tend to be brighter than necessary on screens and adjustments may be needed. The story shifts to a mysterious encounter involving ancient magic and rock traversal abilities. A discussion ensues about Queen Anima's bloodline and their special powers. There is tension and suspicion about potential deception, but trust is eventually established after thoughts are read to confirm honesty. The characters discuss how teleportation works through focusing on specific destinations. One character materialized near another while barely alive. They realize that intense concentration and having physically been to a location before is necessary for creating portals between realms. The wounded character is grateful for being saved. A character takes time to process recent supernatural events, attempting to clear their mind and recreate a previous teleportation experience. They focus intensely on sensory details like ground texture, bird sounds, and specific locations to master this new ability. Police officers investigate the scene where the suspect vanished mysteriously. They describe the suspect as a white male with brown hair in his early 20s. Officers are baffled by the impossible escape, noting there was no way to scale the wall so quickly. After returning to Nova, the character debates whether to explain everything immediately or wait until after completing their mission at the New World server. They decide to prioritize obtaining the Heart of the Abyss first, planning to tell both Nova and Nancy later. An accidental teleportation occurs with Nova, leading to a startled discussion about accessing Eternum without neural implants. Nova panics about their physical bodies and neighborhood safety, while the other character tries to explain the situation calmly. Nancy suggests yoga to calm everyone down during the tense situation. Despite initial resistance and confusion, they follow her lead, focusing on poses and the sound of waves. The exercise proves surprisingly effective at relaxing both body and mind. Despite being unable to access Alyssa's inventory, the Gems of Doom mysteriously appeared in a pocket, similar to how Dion connected with Nova. These items seem to have a special connection. The mechanics of movement are still unclear, but it appears being stuck, appearing at the last vanishing point, is consistent, both here and in the alley in Credit. Eternum is revealed to be more than just a video game. It's actually a dimension where astral projections can be created. While neural implants made it accessible to everyone, some people like Orion can enter naturally. The bleeding cases reported worldwide were actually brief trips to Eternum rather than hallucinations. This revelation brings clarity to previous mysterious events. The core mission remains unchanged. Collect 10 gems and free the NPCs from Ulysses' control. The next step involves assembling a new crew and sailing to the Island of Lost Souls. The character's enthusiasm for the mission is evident despite the revelations about Eternum's true nature. An embarrassing situation arises when some characters realize they're in their underwear. Nancy thoughtfully purchased new clothes from a boutique, including a flattering skirt and a stylish shirt. The clothes were acquired from a shop where a green-haired girl and an Asian man named Chop Chop were present. Nancy requests help finding new crew members in exchange for the clothes. The group agrees to split up, check recruitment spots, and meet at the ship in 30 minutes. Each person needs to bring one new crew member, creating a friendly competition for finding the best sailor. As the group disperses, there's reflection on Nancy's calming influence during crises. However, there's also awareness of the need to remain vigilant, given the high stakes involved. The ship is conveniently anchored just a short walk from the tavern. There is an internal struggle about relationships and feelings toward multiple people. The situation is complicated by genuine feelings of love for several individuals. There is uncertainty about how to handle these emotions without causing harm. The recruitment process begins with 3 potential crew members available for interview. While this is fewer candidates than hoped for, it's explained that the dangerous nature of the journey to the Island of Lost Souls has limited the number of volunteers. The first candidate, Blackheart Reds, introduces himself as Tortuga's finest pirate. He is extremely superstitious about pronunciation and spelling of his name. He claims to be both a top cook and magician, demonstrating impressive sleight of hand skills despite some quirky behavior. The second candidate, Lordy Silverhook, presents himself with his parrot Iago. He claims to be part of the best navigation team in Tortuga. However, he repeatedly emphasizes his navigation skills while listing other abilities, including animal handling and alcohol tasting, showing signs of limited versatility despite his claims. A pirate from Tortuga interviews for a position, boasting about their reputation and desire to make a name for themselves in the New World server. The conversation reveals they have valuable navigation skills that could be beneficial for the upcoming journey. Red Scarlet interviews for a position, discussing potential riches from the mission. When asked about sailing skills, she only knows basic concepts like winds, waves, and skull flags. Her interview suggests limited practical sailing experience. During the decision-making process, Red Scarlet is ruled out as unsuitable. The choice comes down to between a chef and a navigator. After careful consideration, the chef is selected based on the importance of having food for the journey. The crew assembles at a large ship. A new crew member named Tartania is introduced, though he refuses to reveal his real name due to paranoid beliefs about secret organizations like the NWO. He shares various conspiracy theories about surveillance drones disguised as birds. Zap joins the crew, bringing 25 years of fishing experience across multiple servers. However, tension arises when another crew member expresses concern about having 2 women aboard, considering it bad luck. The situation is diffused through discussion of sailing superstitions. The journey begins in the cold icebergs of Frostbone region. The slow sailing speed adds to the challenging conditions. Meanwhile, Tartania continues sharing increasingly bizarre conspiracy theories, including claims about New York being fake and Eternum being a parallel dimension. The crew discusses navigation progress, noting they're about halfway through their journey. The icebergs of Frostbone are revealed to be more treacherous than shown on their map, with most ships failing to navigate through them successfully. The crew learns about Bill, a massive killer whale that haunts the waters. Despite its intimidating reputation as the devourer of men and abysmal terror, the casual name Bill becomes a source of amusement for the crew members. The ship experiences concerning impacts, possibly from Bill the whale. The crew attempts to maintain calm while trying to spot the creature. When finally sighted, the whale appears much larger than expected, comparable to a football stadium in size, causing significant alarm among the crew. Discovery that the orcas in the area never stop growing leads to a crisis when a colossal creature strikes the ship. The crew debates sacrificing someone to appease the giant creature. Redmouth proposes using a special sleep-inducing cake recipe that supposedly worked on a megalodon before. Redmouth attempts to implement his cake plan, requiring careful rope work to lower it properly. He insists the cake can't simply be tossed into the ocean due to bad luck and the risk of it sinking too deep. During the attempt, something goes terribly wrong and Redmouth disappears. After Redmouth's apparent sacrifice, the crew rushes to escape the area. The mood shifts to reflect on survival and future plans regarding the Gems of Doom. A showdown with Dantos looms, though confidence has been shaken by a previous ally encounter. Beautiful but mysterious music begins affecting the crew. Tartaria acts strangely and jumps overboard. The haunting melody spreads its influence, revealed to be a Siren Song that begins enchanting the male crew members with an irresistible urge to join the singing. The Siren Song grows stronger, creating an internal struggle between survival instinct and the overwhelming desire to jump into the water. The enchanted crew members perceive the deadly call as a beautiful invitation from a loving woman. Nancy and other female crew members attempt to save Orion as he tries to jump overboard. The music only affects men, allowing the women to resist. They discover Tartaria has already jumped and worry about other male crew members below deck. A siren climbs aboard and reveals herself to Orion, claiming to be a fan. She attempts to seduce him, but is stopped when the female crew members attack her with a spear. The situation becomes increasingly dangerous as more sirens approach. After regaining consciousness, Orion remembers the entire ordeal while under the siren's influence. Though aware of the fatal consequences, he couldn't resist the compelling urge to jump. The female crew members manage to navigate the ship to safety while protecting the incapacitated male crew. The crew reaches the border between the Bay of the Undead and Paradox Archipelago. With compasses malfunctioning, they seek guidance from a high vantage point at an old pirate post. Their destination, the Island of Lost Souls, lies ahead once they navigate through the archipelago. At an abandoned dock, friends reunite to discuss some exciting news. The mystery of why sailors could never navigate past this point in the archipelago is finally revealed. The islands create unique wind currents that cause ships to sail in circles without proper navigation tools. Even tracking celestial bodies proves unreliable due to potential optical illusions created by the archipelago. A plan emerges to trek across the main island on foot through the jungle. Despite some hesitation about the dangers and uncertainty regarding transportation on the other side, the group needs to move quickly as they only have 4 hours until their destination vanishes. The group encounters some unexpected skeleton inhabitants who warn them about dangerous traps on the island. The skeletons, Ed and Morty, are actually employees who are frustrated about dealing with reckless visitors. They reveal they can help navigate around the tricky wind currents. The skeletons confirm there's only about 4 hours remaining before the island disappears for a year. They offer to help transport the group, but only living beings can set foot on the destination island. A deal is struck where the group agrees to display Morty's painting in exchange for safe passage. The group agrees to meet at a nearby cove in 20 minutes while the skeletons prepare. They're warned about various dangers like gnomes and paradox beasts. The pristine beach amazes everyone with its crystal-clear waters untouched by pollution. While waiting, the group takes time to relax on the stunning beach. They discuss personal growth and share intimate moments, though aware they can't linger too long given their mission. The physical and mental exhaustion from their long journey starts catching up as it's very early morning in the real world. In a serene moment, the group discusses taking a break while waiting for Ed and Morty to return. Despite initial hesitation, everyone agrees they deserve some rest after feeling exhausted, particularly from earlier activities. The peaceful atmosphere leads to a collective decision to take a quick nap, with promises to wake up shortly. The scene dramatically shifts as someone wakes up, apparently after a significant time jump of 10 years. There is confusion and disorientation as they try to understand their surroundings. The environment has changed to what appears to be an office setting, creating a stark contrast to their previous location. A mysterious narrative voice begins describing events, mentioning a quest involving 10 gems of doom and suggesting a decade has passed. The protagonist expresses confusion and frustration at this unexpected narration, questioning the reality of their situation and wondering if they are still dreaming within Eternum. The protagonist explores their new surroundings, investigating various elements like a computer, photo frame, and desk area. They discover unsettling details, including a wedding photo of Dahlia and Jerry, which causes significant distress and disbelief. The office environment feels foreign, yet somehow familiar. An interaction occurs with Charlotte at the reception desk, revealing tense relationships and past history. A message from Penny mentions concerns about her mother Nancy and references events from 2038. The conversation highlights strained relationships and significant changes in various characters' lives over the apparent time skip. The narrative continues as the protagonist heads to a meeting room with the mysterious narrator describing emotional states that the protagonist denies. The story takes on elements reminiscent of the Stanley Parable, blending reality and narrative in an increasingly surreal way. A crucial encounter occurs with Luna, who appears visibly unwell. The meeting reveals more unsettling changes, including the presence of Miss Whitmore, formerly Alex, who is now married. The situation becomes increasingly complex as past relationships and current realities collide, leaving the protagonist struggling to understand their new reality. A workplace confrontation unfolds between an employee and their supervisor regarding poor performance and concerning reports about substance use during work hours. The supervisor warns that improvement is needed or there will be serious consequences. New project guidelines are mentioned that need completion by month end. After the supervisor Alexandra leaves, Luna reveals a more rebellious side. The conversation turns tense when Luna offers illegal substances, specifically ecstasy. Despite initially refusing, there appears to be confusion about whether the substance was actually taken, leading to disorienting experiences. The scene shifts to reveal a seemingly cyclical nature of events, with the protagonist experiencing what feels like a time loop or déjà vu. After 5 years at the same desk, the monotony has created a disorienting effect, making it difficult to distinguish new experiences from old ones. Various workplace issues are addressed, including sales performance problems and complaints about unprofessional conduct. References to Eternum's closure and its impact on the market are made. The office environment appears messy and unprofessional, with inappropriate items scattered around. The story moves to the meeting lounge, described as a place for socializing and discussing video game industry developments. However, the protagonist has become increasingly isolated, with co-workers barely noticing their absence. The space is empty when they arrive. The focus shifts to a TV show called Studio Retro, hosted by Anton Egrich. The show features celebrity guest Penelope Carter, who discusses her upcoming film premiere. She is described as a multi-talented personality with a massive social media following and upcoming controversial scene in her new movie. The TV interview concludes with discussions about Penelope Carter's romantic life and rumors about her relationship with co-star Liam Hara. Though they attempted discretion, their relationship appears to have become public knowledge, adding another layer of interest to their upcoming film. A casual conversation unfolds between friends, with playful banter and teasing. The discussion touches on relationships and dating, specifically mentioning someone named Liam and Penny, though details remain vague. The tone is lighthearted as the group breaks the ice and gets more comfortable with each other. The scene shifts as someone discovers their previously lost phone on a nearby table. An unexpected call comes in from someone named Dahlia, who sounds disoriented. They arrange to meet on the 5th floor, though the call ends abruptly, leaving the situation uncertain. The protagonist hopes this might be their escape from their current bizarre situation. A surprising encounter occurs with someone named Hoompa, who talks about past memories, including barbecues and children. There's confusion about these supposed memories, as the protagonist doesn't recall having any godchildren or Michaela having kids. The conversation reveals a disconnect between their shared memories, suggesting something is off about this reality. The protagonist receives a mysterious email directing them to the 7th floor with a warning not to listen to someone. This leads to a decision about whether to take the elevator or stairs, highlighting the restricted access to certain floors and the limitations of the building's layout. A crucial revelation occurs when meeting Annie, who explains that everything is happening within the protagonist's mind. She reveals that all the strange encounters and altered relationships, like Delia's marriage and Luna's addiction, are fake scenarios playing out their worst fears. Annie appears as a manifestation of the subconscious trying to help them escape. The situation intensifies as Annie presents a dramatic solution, suggesting that the only way to break free from the narrator's control is through self-sacrifice. This leads to a tense moment of decision-making and trust, ultimately resulting in a successful escape from the nightmare scenario. Upon returning to reality, they discover others experiencing similar nightmares, with strange creatures spreading some kind of powder. The truth begins to unravel about their situation and the nature of their shared experience. While trapped in Paradox Archipelago, a magical place where living creatures always return to their starting point, the group encounters a gnome who initially offers to help them escape. However, the gnome betrays them and makes a quick getaway, leaving them stranded in the infinite jungle maze where even the sun appears frozen in place. The group stays calm and develops an escape plan. Nova transforms Dion into a flare gun to signal their location to Ed and Morty every 5 minutes. They decide to head in the direction of the coast based on the sun's position, hoping the pirates will come looking for them due to their code of honor and desire for treasure. After walking for some time through the labyrinth of cliffs and canyons, the group keeps returning to their starting point, confirming the paradoxical nature of the archipelago. Exhausted and hungry, they decide to take a break while continuing to shoot flares, hoping to attract help within the 15-mile visibility range. To pass the time, Nancy shares some rum found on a dead corsair. The group starts playing a question game, discussing what they would bring to a medieval server for entertainment. Answers range from art supplies to dogs for companionship, showing their different personalities and preferences. The conversation turns more personal as they discuss past brushes with the law. Nova reveals narrowly avoiding arrest for hacking activities, while Nancy hints at some teenage mischief but claims to have never been arrested. The alcohol starts to affect the mood as they continue their game. As the rum continues flowing, their game takes a flirtatious turn with would-you-rather scenarios and personal questions. The group becomes increasingly open, sharing preferences and experiences while maintaining a playful atmosphere. Nova shows signs of tipsiness, getting flustered during the increasingly intimate discussion. The conversation reaches its peak with personal questions about relationships and chemistry between certain members of the group. The alcohol has clearly lowered their inhibitions, leading to both awkward moments and genuine connections as they continue waiting for rescue in their paradoxical prison. An awkward conversation ensues about a dinner that may or may not have happened. The group discusses walking through the jungle to find their way out, while tension builds around relationships and past events that occurred between certain characters. The conversation gets more personal as they discuss intimate relationships between characters. Someone named Nancy encourages openness about these relationships, revealing she had her own experience with Ryan recently, which surprises others in the group. A deep discussion about desires and fears takes place. Nova expresses wanting to be with Orion while staying connected to the group, revealing fears of isolation. The conversation explores the possibility of an unconventional relationship arrangement. The group shares emotional declarations of love and affection. A romantic scene unfolds between the characters, though specific details are kept modest and appropriate. The mood is interrupted by the need to launch another flare. A skeleton character appears and informs the group they only have 2 hours before the island sinks into the ocean. The group scrambles to get dressed and prepare for their next challenge, following the skeleton's guidance. They discover they must reach a temple at the base of a mountain before sunset, but face significant time constraints. The bay is too shallow for the ship, and walking would take too long. The dead cannot set foot on the island, adding to their challenges. The group encounters the Kraken, creating a dangerous situation. Some characters maintain humor about the possibility of becoming skeletons themselves, while others focus on completing their mission to reach the treasure. After an exhausting run, they finally reach the mountain. Artificial light indicates they've found the temple, though fatigue has taken its toll. Time is running out as the island will soon sink into the ocean. The exploration continues into the temple, which is carved into the mountain. Despite disappearing in the Paradox Archipelago for hours, the protagonist managed to overcome every obstacle and arrive on time, living up to their reputation. Multiple theories about how they accomplished this feat are discussed, including hiding in barrels and using invisibility potions. The conversation reveals the exchange involves items of profound value, and they must leave the sinking island soon. One item, the Heart of the Abyss, allows communication with the dead once a year on the Island of Lost Souls. The motivation behind acquiring this item stems from a desire to communicate with a lost daughter, suggesting Eternum may be more than just a VR world, possibly an actual afterlife. An exchange takes place involving the Heart of the Abyss and the Gem of Doom. Despite one party being physically stronger, they choose not to betray the agreement, trusting their instincts. The mysterious figure known as Coyote vanishes as enigmatically as they appeared, leaving an impression of being highly intelligent despite not being physically imposing. Several hours later, the group successfully escapes the island after a 5-hour journey back to Tortuga, despite taking a shortcut. The team is exhausted, particularly Nova, who falls into a deep sleep. Nancy successfully negotiates with Ed and Morty regarding a WRE ship arrangement, securing it for future use as needed. A major announcement interrupts their session, revealing the Big Hunt event starting tomorrow and running through January. The event involves hunting xenomorphs, dangerous creatures that have infested multiple servers. The reward for eliminating the most xenomorphs is the 9th Gem of Doom, with only 1 gem remaining afterward. The team discusses the implications of the founder offering a Gem of Doom as a reward. They speculate that this might be a strategy to motivate players to find the final gem, though questions arise about the founder's true intentions and whether anyone would know how to use all 10 gems if collected. As the exhausted team prepares to rest after their 24-hour ordeal, romantic tensions surface. Nancy shares a passionate moment and offers wisdom about handling relationships with care, particularly regarding Nova, Annie, Luna, Alex, Penny, and Dahlia. The scene ends with contemplation about how life can change dramatically in just a few months. The scene opens with a realization that Nova and companions entered eternity without using Ulysses' trickery or astral projection. This leads to concern about being trapped, but there's reassurance that returning to the real world is possible through concentration and control, similar to previous experiences with Calypso. Successfully returning home, they discover Nova had fallen asleep during transit. The return happened without using exit portals, though it seems they can only return to their original entry point. Nova notices she's still in her pirate quest attire and smells like fish, confirming they entered Eternum with their physical bodies. A tense moment occurs as Nova realizes the dangers they faced were real, not just astral projections. The revelation that they could have actually died during their adventures, especially during encounters with mermaids and other creatures, causes significant anxiety. A romantic moment helps calm the situation. The conversation shifts to acknowledging the risks taken and expressing deep emotional connection. There is reflection on how near-death experiences changed perspectives, moving away from obsession with gems toward valuing relationships more. Despite the dangerous day involving various creatures and challenges, it was considered the best day ever. The scene transitions to a hurried goodbye as parents are heard approaching. Despite being 21, there's still parental concern about the late return. Nova creatively explains away her unusual appearance with a story about a flash mob at the community pool, planning to provide more details later. Days later, Annie shows off a dress, seeking approval and revealing plans for a special occasion. The conversation hints at deeper dynamics and hidden feelings, with Annie being particularly concerned about appearance and seeking reassurance about a planned date. Internal monologue reveals complex emotions and visions about relationships, suggesting potential future developments involving multiple people. There is consideration of different approaches to handling these feelings, weighing personal happiness against potential complications. The scene concludes with an unexpected supernatural element involving El Charro Negro, leading to Annie's fainting. The tension breaks when it's revealed to be a costume prank, ending with light-hearted compliments about appearance. Despite showing signs of exhaustion with bags under the eyes from intense gaming sessions, the look is deemed confidently appropriate for meeting a longtime friend. There is mention of collecting 10 gems and taking a break afterward from gaming and parallel dimensions. The conversation shifts to discussing dating progress with Michaela, with growing excitement about their 4th date. Plans involve getting together later, though scheduling conflicts arise due to upcoming gym sessions and plans to hunt xenomorphs in the Valley of the Kings server for a special event. Discussion turns to hunting aliens to obtain Gems of Doom, with a team consisting of Nova, Luna, Annie, and the speaker planning to compete until January. There is mention of Eternum and neural implants, though one friend prefers staying in the real world as a control sample to distinguish reality from Eternum. An evacuation announcement is made on Palaxima 83, warning citizens to leave via exit portal as the area is no longer safe. Commentary suggests that xenomorphs have overtaken another planet in Andromeda, with skepticism about whether this was truly planned as a player event or if it's a cover-up for losing control of Eternum. The A-Team reunites, with Luna providing special protective suits that offer immunity to various environmental hazards, including cold, fire, and vacuum environments. The suits are notably form-fitting, leading to some internal dialogue about maintaining appropriate focus and respect. Technical details about neural implants and server navigation are discussed. The ability to enter servers without implants is explained, though with limitations on location specificity and travel between servers. Concerns about safety and control by Ulysses Corporation are raised. The conversation continues with a detailed history of the Gems of Doom, tracking their discovery and theft over a 5-year period. It recounts how Thanos acquired multiple gems through various means, building up to the current situation with the gems spread across different owners. 3 adventurers traveled to a dangerous red herring server and discovered a new gem of doom in the Flink mansion after completing their mission. Unfortunately, they left Orion unprotected, allowing Thanos to track him down, nearly kill him, and claim a 5th gem. Despite being only 18, Orion has faced many near-death experiences. The adventure intensifies as the team locates a 4th gem that had changed hands for almost 2 years before being purchased by billionaire Cornelius Garrington. Using a clever plan, they successfully steal the gem from Garrington's casino. Later, they discover another gem in possession of Jasper Wegener, leader of an inter-server faction in Eternity. El Coyote proposes a trade, his Gem of Doom for the legendary Heart of the Abyss. After a dangerous journey through New World waters to the Island of Lost Souls, both parties honor the exchange. This brings their gem count to 3, setting up an epic clash in Eternum, with Thanos holding 5 gems and only 2 remaining to be found. The Game Master makes a surprise appearance and announces that the 9th Gem of Doom will be awarded to the winner of the Big Hunt event. With 1 gem still hidden somewhere, obtaining both would allow them to face Thanos on equal terms. Possessing all 10 gems could potentially enable them to defeat the Founder and save Eternum. The situation becomes dire when xenomorphs are discovered nearby, with reports indicating over 100 creatures per square mile. The team faces waves of 40 to 50 xenomorphs at a time. Suddenly, they find themselves trapped in an impenetrable force field barrier. Annie reveals her past struggles with feeling undervalued and dismissed by others. Despite these challenges, she channels her determination into becoming stronger. She demonstrates her true power by preparing for an ultimate spell to confront the xenomorph threat. Annie unleashes her devastating solar cataclysm spell, creating an explosion more powerful than a Tsar bomb. The blast wipes out millions of xenomorphs and creates a massive crater. This display of magic proves Annie's incredible magical abilities, despite her limited physical capabilities. After the impressive display of power, the team prepares to leave using a protected Exeter portal. Annie reveals she had planned ahead by setting up barriers around their escape route. The group splits up, with Luna and Annie planning to meet for hairstyling, while Ryan makes plans for a horror movie marathon. The scene transitions to the real world, where Ryan prepares for a romantic dinner date at Gusto's restaurant. Despite having spent countless hours with Andy and Eternum, Ryan feels nervous about this real-world encounter, highlighting the importance of maintaining a balance between virtual and real-life experiences. A guest named Ryan Richards arrives at an upscale hotel restaurant for his 7:30 reservation. The setting appears quite fancy, making him regret not dressing more formally. His date, Annie, is running late due to flooding at an underpass that has blocked the bus route. While waiting, he observes other patrons, including some familiar faces from town. A tense business conversation unfolds between crime family leaders discussing territory and control. They mention 7 major families controlling different regions, with conflict brewing over control of Eternum. The discussion grows increasingly hostile as they debate market share and potential warfare between the families. Ryan orders drinks while waiting for his date. The server recommends a discounted but excellent Grand Rouge wine from 2008. They plan to have the 5-course menu once his date arrives. The service quality impresses Ryan, though he notes being still unfamiliar with American tipping customs. Ryan receives messages from friends. Chang asks to borrow a joke for his date with Michaela. Alex requests help delivering math notes, revealing her struggles juggling work, studies, and swimming while dealing with financial hardship. Nova shares about her internship challenges and sunburn experiences. A flirtatious interaction occurs with the server, who brings complimentary canapes and suggests meeting up after her shift. Ryan politely declines, explaining he is waiting for his date. This leads him to reflect on his 10-year relationship with Annie. The story flashes back to Ryan and Chang's first meeting as children. They bonded over wearing the same anime t-shirt and shared interests. A young Chang, feeling isolated at school, eagerly seeks friendship while waiting for his father outside an office. The interaction reveals their different social and economic backgrounds, but budding friendship. A casual conversation begins between new friends about living arrangements in school. One person mentions they live nearby and their parents own a hot pot restaurant in the neighborhood. The interaction reveals that Annie, who is initially quiet and thought to be mute, is actually just shy. A newcomer named Orion has recently moved from the US with his dad. The kids discuss entertainment preferences, revealing some restrictions Annie faces regarding media consumption. Her mom doesn't allow anime, superhero movies, or Harry Potter. After going through several options like Pokemon and Transformers, they finally land on Star Wars as something they can all relate to and decide to play-act the characters. The group negotiates character roles for their Star Wars play session. Annie insists on being Vader instead of Princess Leia, wanting to portray a strong character. They plan to use sticks as lightsabers, but their playtime gets cut short when Chang needs to leave, followed by the others having to head home too. Before parting ways, Annie makes Orion pinky promise to be friends and not ignore her at school. The exchange ends on a hopeful note, with Orion reflecting that despite initial doubts, the new place might not be so bad after all, even with its weird kids. The scene shifts to what appears to be a present-day dinner date between Annie and Orion. Annie arrives late, apologizing profusely about bus troubles and walking in heels. Orion reassures her that her appearance is stunning and that he would have waited all night for her. During dinner, they reminisce about their first meeting as kids. Orion demonstrates his impressive memory of details from that day, including Annie's outfit and their canceled zoo plans. They also discuss their first joint birthday celebration, revealing they both wish to stay together forever. Their romantic dinner continues with the arrival of their 5-course meal. A brief, awkward moment occurs when a server appears to flirt with Orion, but Annie trusts him completely and chooses to focus on their special evening together. The evening takes a playful turn when Annie teases Orion with a seemingly tricky question about what he likes most about her. After making him sweat for a bit, she reveals she's just joking. The scene ends with them ready to enjoy their delicious meal together. The waitress announces the restaurant is closing and mentions room 307, causing some confusion. It becomes clear she was suggesting her hotel room number, which creates an awkward moment. Despite this attempt to sabotage the date, one person remains mature about the situation, refusing to let it ruin their perfect evening. Before leaving, someone asks to use the bathroom. There are jokes about not sneaking off to pay the bill, with references to an Eternals donation. While waiting, there is consideration of taking a romantic walk in the park since the rain has stopped. Meanwhile, the waitress is overheard making plans about meeting a wealthy client with a Bentley. A confrontation occurs with the flirtatious waitress. The conversation becomes intense as boundaries are established regarding inappropriate behavior. The confronter demonstrates newfound confidence, crediting high heels for the boost in self-assurance. This marks a transition from being typically scared to being the one in control. The scene shifts to a serious conversation about an impending conflict. Two brothers affirm their loyalty to each other, acknowledging the challenges ahead but finding strength in their unity. The mood becomes more somber as they discuss the inevitability of this war. The group prepares to leave as thunder rumbles outside. Despite forgetting an umbrella, there is excitement about the romantic possibility of walking in the rain. They end up on the 3rd floor of the hotel, leading to an adventurous moment involving a room key card. It is revealed that the room was actually booked intentionally during a bathroom break earlier, not found by chance. The thoughtful planning is appreciated, especially given the rainy weather. The couple changes into comfortable pajamas provided by the hotel. The scene transitions to a gym setting where someone reflects on their progress in Eternum. A determined declaration is made to defeat the founder and uncover the mysteries of Eternum to save its people. This shows great resolve and commitment to an important mission that will impact many lives. A casual gym conversation takes place, discussing dating preferences and relationships. One person claims to be above rejection while maintaining an active dating profile, leading to accusations of hypocrisy from others in the conversation. After an intense workout session, plans are made to meet up later. Discussion reveals they need to investigate a xenomorph situation, with current rankings showing Orion in first place with 1.6 million kills, followed by Hassan al-Rashid with 1.1 million kills in just a week. A thoughtful surprise gift exchange occurs involving protein powder in barbecue flavor. The gesture is met with genuine appreciation and excitement, showing the growing bond between the characters. Homemade protein cinnamon rolls are also shared and thoroughly enjoyed. The scene shifts to the pool area, bringing back nostalgic memories of swimming lessons. Thoughts drift to whether paths might have crossed with Alex in earlier days before their current connection was established. A playful encounter occurs between two people at the pool, exchanging witty banter and comments about appearance. The conversation reveals their comfortable familiarity with each other, despite the teasing tone. Discussion about intense swimming training reveals a dedication of 10,000 yards since early morning. The conversation touches on upcoming plans and offers of support, though independence remains a priority for the swimmer. A touching moment reveals the coach's high regard for Alex's swimming talents and protective attitude about her Olympic potential, ending with a supportive promise to cheer from the front row. The scene opens at a pool where someone is being instructed to get in for swimming practice. The coach orders 500 yards of freestyle kicks, coming across as quite intimidating. Everyone heads to their designated positions in the pool, feeling the intense gaze of the coach, monitoring their movements carefully. After completing the pool session, there is an exchange about delivering some handwritten notes. The conversation turns playful when discussing who still writes notes by hand, especially after someone had previously used a pen as a conversation starter. The scene moves to a discussion about entering the women's locker room to deliver the notes. There is hesitation about entering, but reassurance is given that it's safe since only a few team members are using the pool and would be occupied for at least an hour. Inside the locker room, an intimate encounter occurs between two people with passionate kissing and expressions of missing each other. The scene jumps between different virtual locations in a place called Eternum, including a coliseum and collector's house. The situation becomes tense when the swimming coach enters the locker room. Quick thinking leads to a cover story about having digestive issues, complete with over-the-top details to convince the coach. The excuse works and provides an opportunity to avoid getting caught. The scene shifts outdoors, where the weather has become notably cold. Two people meet up, with one wearing inappropriate clothing for the weather. They discuss the sudden temperature drop and the need to switch to winter clothing in Creton. A conversation reveals some mixed messages about a massage therapy session. There appears to be some playful deception happening between friends regarding special massage techniques and potential group sessions. The discussion turns to a mission involving someone named Samir and a place called Hussein El Rashid's Citadel. They miss their bus and are concerned about coordinating with Jerry, whose reliability is questioned when working alone. A suggestion is made about entering Eternum without equipment, leading to a debate about the safety of entering with real bodies versus using neural implants. They discuss the relatively low danger rates in the Valley of Kings area. A key advantage of entering Eternum is not needing an exit portal to escape. The group seeks a discreet corner, heading to a nearby alley under some balconies. There is discussion about whether returning from Eternum will bring them back to the same location. Closing eyes is suggested to avoid shock during the transition. Upon arrival, the scorching temperature change is immediately noticeable. They successfully made it without using a neural implant and ended up near an exit portal. The limited accessible areas include this spot and a temple in the Egyptian area. Their earth clothes are unsuitable for the intense heat. Ashari outfits are available at the meeting point, stashed away for their use. The Ashari are a desert-dwelling tribe that their contact Samir belongs to. These outfits will help them blend in near the citadel and are designed to handle the desert heat effectively. The meeting point is about 15 minutes east. There is playful banter about physical fitness between the characters. Discussion focuses on muscle gain, training routines, and maintaining a balanced diet. One character has gained 4 pounds of muscle over 3 weeks through a combination of weight training and cardio exercises. The group arrives at a beautiful oasis with a crystal-clear pond. The area features unique plants maintained by the Ashari tribe. They meet Jerry, who informs them their contact Samir is running 40 minutes late, having sent word via Hawk. The group needs to change into Ashari outfits before the meeting. Jerry, formerly known as Sir Germain of Noriander, expresses frustration about feeling disrespected. The conversation shifts when Jerry notices someone's impressive physical condition, leading to detailed discussions about workout routines, supplements, and exercise techniques. A physical challenge takes place with one character completing 300 consecutive push-ups, showing remarkable progress from their initial capabilities. This feat impresses the observers, particularly since it was done with proper form and without special abilities. The impressive physical feat is rewarded with a friendly gesture. The interaction remains playful and light-hearted, maintaining appropriate boundaries. The focus returns to preparing for their meeting with Samir, including getting properly equipped with sandstorm glasses and other necessary gear. An awkward moment unfolds as Delia leaves and tension builds in the air. The environment feels charged with unspoken emotions, suggesting potential for future dramatic developments. There is a desire to find another private moment, but things get embarrassing when Jerry is spotted nearby. A conversation begins with Jerry about the situation with Delia. Jerry shows surprising maturity by admitting he has moved on, acknowledging that Delia never looked at him the way she looks at the current person. The discussion reveals Jerry's self-awareness about his past behavior. Jerry opens up about his struggles, revealing his attempts to make a name for himself in the ERE despite continuous setbacks. He shares his experiences of multiple deaths in Eternum, including incidents at Loco's Cafe, Echebar, and during various missions. The conversation shows his vulnerability and frustration. The scene shifts as a mysterious rider on a gray horse arrives at an oasis. This person is identified as Samir, a member of the Ashari. A deal is discussed regarding safe passage into a citadel, setting up an important mission involving multiple parties. Samir explains the history of conflict with Sultan Hassan, who took over their server with oil money and a jackal army. The Ashari seek to reclaim their territory from Hassan, who has been exploiting both players and NPCs. A plan is formed to infiltrate Hassan's territory through different routes. The group splits up for their mission. One team will infiltrate through a slave delivery route, while others will enter through the open market. There are concerns about safety, but everyone commits to their roles. The stakes are high as they prepare to uncover how the Sultan has been defeating xenomorphs. The group arrives at the Citadel, a major trading hub that Hassan acquired through monetary influence. The impressive fortress is now controlled by his forces, including intimidating jackal warriors. The team discusses strategies for gathering intelligence about Hassan's mysterious success against xenomorphs. The team is led to a secret base in an opulent room filled with incense. Despite Jerry's reluctance, he is convinced to participate in the mission by appealing to his desire for recognition within the ERE. They receive instructions about using a password, free sands, and coordinate their infiltration plan. A conversation takes place about plans to help someone escape. The plan involves going back to negotiate with a sister after an inspection. A wall is identified as easy to climb near the stables, suggesting a potential escape route involving grabbing a horse and fleeing into the desert. However, the presence of jackal guards poses a significant challenge, as they are described as being both loyal and incredibly strong. The Sultan arrives to inspect potential wives at the Citadel. He introduces Zahara, the blind oracle who can see things others cannot. The Sultan explains that his wives are treated with great respect, but they must prove themselves worthy by demonstrating their purity. He clarifies that while preliminary romantic encounters are acceptable, the sacred final act must remain unconsummated. Two girls, Samantha and Pam, are questioned about their purity. When they admit to not being pure, they are sent to an ominous incubation room despite their protests. The Sultan shows no mercy, declaring there is no place for spoiled women in the Citadel. Delia takes a defiant stance against the Sultan, demanding information about the xenomorph contest and threatening to report violations. The Sultan admires her spirit but assumes she is impure. However, Zara confirms Delia's purity, delighting the Sultan, who declares she will become his most beloved queen. He orders her taken to his chambers to prepare. The scene shifts to a chaotic marketplace filled with questionable goods. A discussion reveals that the Sultan cannot simply be killed, as he would respawn within 24 hours. The focus needs to be on destroying infrastructure and taking control instead. The intimidating jackal guards are encountered, revealing them to be much larger than expected. This discovery creates tension as the market is heavily patrolled. A plan is discussed to wait until 3:30 for a lieutenant's arrival, then create a distraction at the archway to sneak into the palace. The scene moves to a marketplace interaction with Alfonso, an enthusiastic merchant selling various items, including dromedaries and staffs. He attempts to make sales, but respects the customer's loyalty to their existing merchant. The conversation ends with a subtle revelation about relationships, leading to an awkward moment about harems. A heartfelt conversation reveals deep romantic feelings for multiple people, with Nancy acting as an intermediary in the situation. Some of the love interests know about each other, while others only suspect. Nancy has advised keeping the full truth hidden for now and to continue acting normally while letting her handle the complicated situation. The scene shifts to Alfonso's place, which serves as a multi-purpose shop selling various items from weapons to camels, while also functioning as a bar and unofficial counseling spot. The owner makes a witty comparison between bartenders and psychologists, suggesting the only difference is whether they hold a drink while listening. An encounter with a mysterious shopkeeper selling copper statues of the goddess Psyche takes an ominous turn. The shopkeeper, revealed to be connected to the syndicate, delivers cryptic warnings about fate, loss, and an approaching point of no return. Despite the strange interaction, a statue is purchased for 3 Eternals to be sent to ERE headquarters. A tense interaction occurs with an extremely hostile merchant who initially mistakes someone for an Ashari. The merchant reveals his personal grudge against Samir, a former Ashari leader who betrayed him by getting involved with his girlfriend. Despite his anger toward current members, he expresses willingness to rejoin under new leadership. A surprising encounter leads to a confrontation with Matt, an old acquaintance armed with a crossbow. Their shared history involves a complicated past incident and disputed money. After negotiation, they settle on an 80 Eternal payment to resolve their differences, with Matt making grand promises about future rewards and mentioning becoming ruler of the Valley of Kings. A mysterious figure discusses Dr. Mercer and the Sultan al-Rashid's team's efforts in eliminating xenomorphs, with claims of over 1 million killed in just days. The conversation hints at deeper conspiracies and unresolved conflicts regarding the xenomorph situation. The conversation reveals plans about making a plague bigger and suspicions about the Sultan's high kill count. There are speculations about a secret underground lair containing millions of infected. Someone has lost both their girlfriend and brigade job, but remains determined to kill Dr. Mercer, threatening to eliminate anyone who stands in their way. The initial plan to infiltrate the palace hits a roadblock. While Della is already inside the palace, alternative entry methods are discussed, including disguising as women. Despite creative attempts to sneak past guards, including one person eating an entire onion to avoid suspicion, the mission faces significant challenges. A deal is proposed. help to enter the palace in exchange for killing Dr. Mercer and anyone connected to the xenomorph plague, including palace servants. Though the request seems extreme, there's consideration to fake agreement just to get inside and help Dahlia, who might be in trouble. A plan is hatched to distract the palace guards. Since the guards are strong but not very smart, creating a staged fight in the market would draw them away from their posts. This would allow access to a trapdoor leading directly into the palace. The team splits up roles for the distraction plan. After successfully entering the palace, the team navigates through inner gardens but gets lost in the maze-like structure. While searching, they encounter footsteps and whispers approaching their position, forcing them to make quick decisions about how to handle the situation. The group encounters Marina Mercer, who works with the Sultan. She reveals she's been tracking their movements and shows particular interest in Orion, praising their rapid progress and capabilities. She invites them for a walk through the gardens, though the situation feels suspiciously convenient. During the walk with Dr. Mercer, she interrogates about past battles while receiving evasive answers. The conversation shifts when questions arise about the Sultan's high xenomorph kill count and slave deliveries, leading to a tense revelation about her true intentions. Dr. Mercer reveals her disturbing operation, mass-producing xenomorphs using NPCs and real humans as hosts, working with the Sultan to refine the creature's biology. She sees Orion as the perfect host for her experiments, explaining how she's responsible for creating deadly jackals and implementing magic blockers in the area. The situation escalates into violence when Orion confronts Dr. Mercer about her plans. Despite being in a magic-blocked area and facing a powerful jackal guard, Orion manages to grab a spear and strike, but takes a powerful hit in return, suggesting an intense fight is about to unfold. A heavily wounded creature from the jackal army collapses after just 2 steps due to massive blood loss. This was a successful takedown of their commander in a single hit, demonstrating impressive combat skills against a formidable opponent. An urgent search begins for a girl named Dahlia, who is brought with other Sherry girls to be sold as slaves. The situation is dire, as she may have either been sent to an incubation room in the palace basement or taken to a storage tower if she passed the Sultan's examination. The scene shifts to where Dahlia has been waiting. 2 jackal guards enter, and despite claiming to be blind in the real world, one guard explains having special vision in Eternum that allows them to see clearly. The atmosphere is tense as they discuss Hassan's impending arrival. The situation becomes more threatening as Dahlia is ordered to prepare for a disturbing inspection ritual. The guards reveal their connection to Dr. Mercer's experiments and mention the creation of albino jackals. Dahlia strongly resists their demands, maintaining her defiance. The guards attempt to manipulate Dahlia by claiming her companion Orion has abandoned her for a gem of doom. They explain a scheme involving xenomorph hunting and the Sultan's plans for controlling the realm. This revelation creates emotional tension and confusion. In an impressive display of combat skills, Dahlia manages to overpower her captors. She then forces them to reveal information about Hassan's team and their connection to Dr. Mercer, who uses various hosts to incubate xenomorphs for the hunting event. An alarm sounds throughout the citadel as intruders are detected. Guards are ordered to eliminate any trespassers immediately. The layout of the palace proves confusing with its endless stairs and multiple floors, making escape challenging. A tense moment occurs when Jerry faces a dangerous encounter with a guard. Just as things seem dire, an unexpected intervention saves him from what appeared to be certain doom, breaking what was referred to as a curse. A frantic search continues through the fortress, with growing concern about Dahlia's whereabouts and safety. The possibility of her being used in twisted experiments adds urgency to the mission. The vast size of the fortress complicates the search effort. Finally, Dahlia is found safe and sound. The reunion is emotional as both parties express relief at finding each other after extensive searching. The experience leads to a new rule about neural implants being required for entering Eternum, highlighting the dangers faced. The discussion turns to an important event called the Big Hunt, which they have secured. Both have gathered crucial information about someone named Dr. Mercer, described as a total psycho. Their conversation is interrupted by an announcement about intruders near the Purity Fountain, forcing them to seek refuge in a secret Ashari headquarters within the Citadel. They discuss fighting massive dog-like golems, estimating there are at least 1,000 of them. They believe they could handle about 3 at once, especially now that they are using their real bodies rather than virtual ones. The real physical presence adds authenticity and heightened survival instincts to their experience. The conversation reveals details about Hassan's preferences for captives, specifically targeting athletic women with brown hair. One character seems hesitant to discuss further details. They share stories about defeating monsters, including taking down a powerful bodyguard creation with precise combat techniques. The mood shifts to a more intimate conversation where they express their feelings for each other. One character makes a bold declaration of love, stating they would sacrifice everything to keep the other safe. The confession is met with mutual feelings and acceptance. A romantic interlude occurs between the characters, which is interrupted by urgent knocking from Jerry. The situation becomes tense as guards approach their location, leading to a rushed discussion about passwords and entry. Jerry arrives with an Ashari girl, revealing he has become the new leader of the Ashari after Samir stepped down. The situation is urgent as the Sultan is sending giant golems to search all houses in the Citadel. Despite confusion about the leadership change, immediate action is required due to the approaching threat. Plans are made to find shelter before guards arrive. Looking at an important figure, it is revealed that this person was once the greatest mage in Eternum. While not yet at the level of Sir Germain of Norander, this individual has the potential to surpass others and become the new king of Eternum by gathering the 10 gems of doom. A touching moment occurs as someone expresses gratitude for having their life saved and being given a new purpose. The Ashari are now pledged to serve the ERE with instructions to spread word about their liberator, who will help them reclaim their server. Warnings are given about monsters approaching, prompting immediate departure plans. A sweet exchange occurs with promises of lasting connection despite future status changes. The scene shifts to Creton, where despite its cold and rainy conditions, it feels like home. Past dangerous incidents are discussed, with agreement to be more careful about future risks. After some personal moments, attention turns to practical matters like needing new clothes. Consideration is given to sharing recent events with friends, though the situation is complicated by past relationships. The scene moves to an inn that seems surprisingly warm, possibly due to magic. At the inn, unexpected socializing occurs with other players. A princess from another realm is taking time among common folk to clear her mind. Generous gifts are offered, including a lifetime open bar and a special sword forged by a master blacksmith. The atmosphere becomes more relaxed as players enjoy themselves at the tavern. A princess, despite maintaining proper speech, shows signs of being slightly tipsy. Past adventures and experiences are recalled, with careful consideration given to maintaining discretion about certain events. Deep thoughts emerge about the nature of existence and identity within the game world. Questions arise about NPCs, real players, and fabricated memories. Plans are made for future adventures in Intramata, an outer space server, with excitement about exploring new realms. The mood shifts dramatically as mysterious events unfold. Someone appears who may not be real, leading to philosophical discussions about authenticity and existence. A metaphor involving identical falling glasses is presented, suggesting deeper questions about reality and perception. A philosophical discussion about chaos and patterns emerges when identical objects fall and shatter differently. This leads to deeper musings about how life can seem perfect before suddenly falling apart, as if fate itself is trying to pull everything back into darkness. Despite this constant cycle, there is always resistance and a way forward. An intense confrontation occurs with Thanos, who attacks using iridium chains that prevent the use of magical masks. The chains are recognized as similar to ones previously seen. Thanos demands the Gems of Doom, showing impressive combat abilities that overwhelm his opponent despite their training. The fight continues with devastating force. A single kick breaks ribs and leaves the opponent unable to breathe or stand. Thanos proves to be incredibly powerful, acknowledging his opponent's strength while demonstrating far superior combat abilities. A shocking revelation occurs when Thanos recognizes his opponent as Wyatt. A dramatic shift occurs as someone bound by Demeritium threatens destruction. Despite being restrained, they refuse to be chained again. Their captor dismisses them as weak and calls them Calypso, describing them as merely a tool meant to serve a purpose. The scene transitions to a forest where the injured protagonist regains consciousness in water. They discover Calypso unconscious, but breathing, theorizing she created a portal to save them despite being bound by Demeritium. Their attempts to use powers to teleport fail mysteriously. The situation becomes more complex when encountered by others who seem to recognize Calypso but are suspicious of the human companion. They discuss language abilities and human deception, leading to confusion about location and mentions of something called Eternum. A formal introduction reveals they are in the presence of Aranis Thornvale, General of the Royal Guard, and his daughter Lorelei. They identify Calypso as the rightful heir to the throne of Hyrule, descendant of Queen Anima, suggesting Calypso has returned to her home realm. The final revelation indicates that Calypso's intense use of power transported them to a different realm, explaining why the protagonist's powers no longer work in this new environment. This leaves them dependent on Calypso for any return journey, effectively stranded until she recovers.